Guys, today I am going to tell you a story about how the ultimate CEOs got completely scammed by the worst life coaches in history. Picture this: you are the most powerful person on earth. You've got millions of subjects, unlimited wealth, but the one thing you want most, immortality, you can't buy. Then some dude in weird robes walks up and goes, "Hey, I know how to make you live forever. You just need to eat these shiny little pills." The main ingredient in these pills, Mercury. Yes, some of the smartest, most powerful emperors in Chinese history were basically taking liquid thermometer to achieve eternal life. You can guess how that went. This is like if Jeff Bezos decided to gain superpowers by drinking a cup of gasoline every day. Let's start with China's first emperor, who is basically the ultimate control freak CEO in Chinese history. Imagine Steve Jobs, but with an empire and way more paranoid. This guy unified China, built the Great Wall, and buried hundreds of scholars alive because they criticized his management style. Basically, he was one of history's most successful dictators. But this emperor had one problem. He realized that no matter how powerful you are, death doesn't care about your LinkedIn profile. Imagine you just conquered the known world, built one of the largest empires in history, and then suddenly realize, wait, I am still going to die. That is totally unfair. So this emperor started what might be the most expensive midlife crisis in human history. He sent expeditions to find the legendary elixir of immortality, like how modern billionaires fund anti-aging research, except way more desperate. He sent this guy with thousands of young men and women to sail the seas looking for immortal islands and magic potions. That guy basically took the government funding, disappeared into the ocean with a bunch of people, and never came back, possibly one of history's most successful scam operations. But the emperor didn't give up. If you can't find the elixir of immortality, just make your own, right? Enter the alchemists. These guys were basically the ancient version of Gwyneth Paltrow and her Goop empire. They claimed to have the secret formula for making immortality pills that would supposedly grant eternal life. Their marketing strategy was simple. Find a powerful person who is afraid of dying, then tell them you have the solution. The alchemist's logic went like this. You know what never decays? Metal. You know what is the shiniest, most mysterious metal? Mercury. So if you eat enough mercury, you'll become immortal like metal. This is like saying, you know what never breaks down? Plastic. So if you eat enough plastic, you'll never break down either. But when you are an emperor surrounded by people who want to please you, nobody's going to tell you this idea. Sounds like it came from Reddit is Rabat Science. Let's talk about mercury, this silvery metal that is liquid at room temperature. To ancient Chinese people, mercury was basically magic. It was shiny, it could flow, and it looked completely unlike anything else on Earth. Alchemists called mercury living silver and believed it had magical properties. They thought mercury was the perfect balance of yin and yang, capable of harmonizing all elements in the body. Modern science tells us what mercury actually is: an extremely toxic heavy metal that damages the nervous system, kidneys, and brain. But in ancient times, it was considered the key to immortality. Alchemists would mix mercury with other magical ingredients like sulfur, lead, and arsenic. Yes, arsenic, to create little pills. These pills were called immortality elixirs. This is like making a cocktail with bleach, antifreeze, and battery acid as the main ingredients, then calling it the Eternal Life Special. Back to our main character, China's first emperor. By his later years, this emperor was completely obsessed with finding immortality. His court was filled with alchemists, all claiming to have the secret recipe for the elixir of life. In 210 BC, the emperor suddenly died during a tour. Official records say he died of illness, but many historians suspect he died of mercury poisoning. Imagine the irony: a man trying to achieve immortality by eating mercury probably died from mercury poisoning. It is like trying to learn to fly by jumping off a cliff. The emperor's death should have been a warning to other emperors that mercury pills might not be a great idea. But history tells us the only lesson humans learn from history is that humans never learn from history. Now let's talk about what happens when you take mercury long term. Modern medicine tells us mercury poisoning symptoms include nervous system damage, memory loss, emotional instability, tremors, kidney damage, digestive problems, eventually death. But in ancient times, these symptoms were interpreted as the process of becoming immortal. If the emperor started trembling, alchemists would say, "Congratulations, your majesty. Your body is transforming into an immortal form." If the emperor became emotionally unstable, they'd say, "This is a sign you are gaining divine wisdom." If the emperor started losing his memory, they'd say, "You are forgetting mortal worries, preparing for eternal life." This is like telling someone with food poisoning, "Congratulations, your vomiting means you are detoxing all the toxins." Which is basically the marketing strategy of the modern detox industry. These alchemists were true marketing geniuses. They knew how to manipulate the psychology of powerful but fearful people, just like modern-day Alex Jones or anyone selling miracle cures. When the elixirs didn't work, they always had excuses. "Your Majesty hasn't taken them long enough. The formula needs adjustment. Your Majesty's body isn't ready for immortalization yet. Evil forces are interfering with the process." When emperors showed poisoning symptoms, they'd rebrand them. Tremors equals divine energy. Flowing through your body hallucinations equals you are communicating with the immortal realm. Memory loss equals you are forgetting mortal worries. Emotional instability equals you are experiencing divine emotions. This is like modern scammers who claim their products can detox you when you feel sick. They say it is toxins leaving your body. Emperors who took Mercury long-term started showing increasingly bizarre behavior, but this was interpreted as signs of divinity. Some emperors became extremely paranoid, believing everyone was trying to poison them. Ironically, the only person actually poisoning them was themselves. This is like Richard Nixon's paranoia, but way more extreme. Other emperors became unusually impulsive and violent. Mercury poisoning affects the brain's prefrontal cortex, which controls impulses. Imagine if Donald Trump's impulsiveness was amplified by 10. Some emperors started believing they'd actually gained supernatural abilities. They'd claim they could communicate with spirits or predict the future. This is like Charles Manson's delusions, but with nuclear weapons. These symptoms are recognized today as serious neurological damage. But in ancient times, they were seen as evidence the emperor was transforming into a god. This story raises an important question. Why would these intelligent, powerful people do such stupid things? The answer is complex, but there are several key factors. 1. Fear of death. Fear of death is one of humanity's most basic fears. When you have everything, the thought of losing it all becomes even more terrifying. 2. Power's isolation. Emperors were surrounded by yes men who rarely dared tell them the truth. Imagine if Mark Zuckerberg was only surrounded by people saying, "Yes, boss." 3. Confirmation bias. People tend to look for evidence supporting their existing beliefs while ignoring contradictory evidence. 4. Sunk cost fallacy. Once you've invested heavily in something, it is hard to admit you are wrong. 5. Authority power. Alchemists were seen as experts, and their words carried authority. While we might laugh at these ancient emperors' stupidity, the modern world has similar phenomena. Silicon Valley billionaires spending millions on unproven anti-aging treatments, people buying expensive goop detox products, and supplement celebrities promoting dangerous health trends. People believing in natural remedies without scientific basis. Basic human psychology hasn't. Tea changed. We're still afraid of death, still easily fooled by those promising simple solutions. The story of Chinese emperors pursuing immortality is one of history's greatest ironies. These most powerful people in the world with unlimited resources and power were defeated by the most basic human fear, fear of death. They tried to achieve immortality by taking poison only to shorten their own lives. They believed alchemist promises while ignoring obvious evidence. They had empires but couldn't have rationality. Maybe the real lesson is immortality isn't achieved through chemicals, but through the legacy we leave behind. These emperors did achieve a kind of immortality. They're forever remembered as history's smartest stupid people. Subscribe to Wacky History for more incredible stories about smart people doing incredibly dumb things.